Today's video is going to serve as a PSA for you guys. If you're playing Madden Ultimate Team, I'm going to add EA in this video in hopes that someone there sees this, because we have a pretty serious issue on our hands that has resurfaced into the game over this past weekend, and it needs to be addressed immediately. Now, this past week, EA went ahead and dropped their first patch of Madden 22, which is all around a very good patch. It fixed a lot of things that needed to be fixed, except for zone coverage. Zone coverage is still absolutely horrendous, but they know about it and they are trying to fix it. Hopefully they push out another patch that fixes these zone coverage issues sometime this week. But it would not be an EA patch if there was not issues that went along with it. Now, every year EA patches the game, whether it be the first patch, the second patch, or whether it be even the last patch of the game cycle, something within the game that they had no intentions on fixing or touching at all, somehow something else gets broken. Now, I have zero clue how this happens. I don't even think EA knows how this happens, but for some odd reason, whenever they drop a patch that fixes X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C get broken. Whether it be just one thing or whether it be a flurry of things, something gets messed up. And it's no different here in Madden 22. We have another issue. We actually have a recurring issue that was an issue just 2 years ago, and now it is back, and I am talking about desyncs. Oh yes, desyncs are rearing its ugly head back at us once again. They are screaming at our face. They are back here in Madden 22. For those of you who have no idea what a desync is, it's kind of hard to explain without being extremely broad. So I'll just give a scenario. So let's say you are in a game of Madden Ultimate Team or whatever, and you are, let's say, in the fourth quarter of a game and you're up 35-0. The game could go ahead and just desync. And what this basically does is it says the game basically didn't even happen. None of the stats that you recorded are going to count. The score does not count. The game does not count towards your win-loss record. It is essentially a giant waste of time. The game just essentially craps out on itself for no apparent reason. So yes, that is the most frustrating aspect of this, is that you could be winning a game in the fourth quarter and the game just desyncs, and your opponent is not going to be accounted for the loss. You are not going to be credited with the win. None of the stats that you accumulate, so you could rush for like 400 yards. That's not going to matter. That's just all gone. It all just gets poured down the drain. So yes, this was a huge issue in Madden 20. It all but ruined Madden 20 at the beginning of the year. It just made the experience absolutely horrible, especially if you were playing weekend league or whatever. The game would just desync constantly. Now, they went ahead and they actually fixed it about midway through, and the rest of Madden 20 ended up going pretty much unscathed without desyncs. They were very, very rare, and they were few and far between. They were also very rare in Madden 21, but I never actually desynced in Madden 21 once at all. I had no desyncs at all. I know there were just a few people I saw had desyncs, but they were absolutely just non-existent in Madden 21. And now this weekend, they are back in full force and full-fledged. And yes, it needs to be gone, because I don't know how this can resurface after, being a thing 2 years ago. You fix it, and it was very sparingly a thing last year, and now here we are again, your first patch, and we are desyncing like madmen. Now I'm going to show you guys examples here, if I'm not already, me desyncing in weekend league. This ultimately halted my plans of playing an entire weekend league, because I was not going to waste my time whatsoever, because it was just a huge waste of time. I was on pace to probably play about 50 games because I was desyncing almost every other game. Yes, the first like 6 or 7 games that I played, I desynced 4 times. So I had played 7 games, but only 3 games counted towards my record because the game just desynced. So yes, it was very frustrating. I ended up playing only 7 games a weekend league. I played 11 though, but 4 of them, the game desynced. One thing that I saw that was a common thread with the desyncs was I only desynced when I got the ball at halftime. When I didn't get the ball at half, the game went through perfectly fine, normal. But when I got the ball at halftime, the game desynced. That is one thing that I did notice was a common theme, a common thread this weekend when I desynced. I don't know if that was the same case for others, but that was the same thing for me. One thing you can go ahead and do to potentially change that is to go in here to your game options, go here to your coin toss choice, and you want to put this on receive first, or you can put it on with wind or against wind or receive. I'm keeping it on kick because I'm not sure if this is 100% effective. Once again, I have no idea what potential fix there is. They haven't announced any sort of fix. I haven't seen any fix. I'm just going off of some things that I did that are potential fixes. Don't take these to the bank, please. These are just things that I am recommending. These are just, once again, not 100% effective, but they kind of sort of were effective for me. So yes, you can put your first choice of the coin toss on with win, against win, or receive. If you don't think that, if that doesn't work, just go put it back on kick or whatever you prefer. Now, another thing that also was kind of a thing in Madden 20 that you had to do was, instead of having your event type on quick presentation, you wanted to have it on exhibition. I have no idea why, but this ended up actually helping out the desyncs in Madden 20. That's one thing I do remember from Madden 20 to help prevent desyncs, was to have your event type on exhibition. Now, a couple of other things that I went ahead and did in the game was I went ahead and I cleared the reserve space. This was a thing you did last year in the game to prevent the DCs at the end of the game. Now, for those of you that did not know what the DCs were, you could play an entire game of Madden last year. You could quit out by literally quitting out of the app at the end, and the game would not count. It was a very scummy thing to do. A lot of people got in huge trouble for it. It was a very bad thing for the game, and they ended up fixing that though. But one thing you can do, and one thing you did last year that you can repeat to do this year to potentially help with the desyncs, is to go here into your manage game and add-ons. And I'm on Xbox Series X, by the way. I'm not sure if this is effective on the Xbox One or on the PS4, PS5. Just putting that out there. Well, yeah, you want to go down here to your save data, and you want to go here and press A on reserve space and clear reserve space. Now, I actually went ahead and did this, and this did not help me at all, because I did this after one game, and then I think the next game I ended up desyncing out of it. This is definitely not the most effective way to do it, but it is an avenue you can take. Now, the last thing that I did, and it was probably the most effective thing that I did, was that I went ahead and just completely uninstalled the game and reinstalled it. Now, that will take about an hour and a half. It took an hour and a half for me, which is very unfortunate, but I did not desync at all after uninstalling and reinstalling the game. So those are just some of the tips that some of the avenues that I took in trying to prevent these desyncs. Once again, I have no clue if these are 100% effective or not. This is just going off of what I saw other people do and what I did in the past to prevent stuff like this from happening. Once again, I hope that this gets fixed sooner rather than later, because nothing is more worse than when you're playing a game and you're feeling good, say you have a good lead, and the game just desyncs and it completely bails out your opponent. You do not get credited with the win that you deserve. It sucks. It really, really sucks. And this should definitely go up to the top of the list, along with zone coverage, as part of issues that need to be addressed immediately and fixed immediately by EA. Fingers crossed. So yes, that is pretty much going to end this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully someone at EA is tuning in as well. Yeah, this is a pretty serious issue, man. This is an issue that is definitely going to drive a lot of people away, especially if they have no idea what it is. Now you know what it is, because I went ahead and explained it. And hopefully this week, sooner rather than later, the desyncs are gonzo.